I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, you know, El Duderino.
Welcome back, Slotcar family, and another video on Slotcar Dude. Today it's going to be about unfinished sympathy. What does that mean in connection with Slotcars? Absolutely nothing. I just love the song. Plus I thought it was I do think it was a good, or is a good title. I want to take you with me on a little trip into NASCARs. Not so much on the road or on the track, but on the Slotcar track, which means I'm going to show you a comparison in scale HO, 1 to 64, in 1 to 32, and in 1 to 24. It's cars that I have in my collection, and 2 out of those 3 cars actually participated in races already, or race series, which is the 32 and the 24 car. On the 24 car, there are 2 or 3 videos already in my playlist. I will post the links just in the general text below this video. The 32, that's a long time ago. I raced this car also in 2 single races that were held, that was for all over Germany and Austria. Participants had to qualify in their clubs and could then participate to the finals. I managed to make it to the finals with in both years that this series was organized, and I became second in the first year, and I think second or third, I can't remember, in the following year. Unfortunately, this was not organized any longer after that. It was box stock, magnets out, weight in if you want to, but what the cars look like, what the setup looks like, what all the setups look like, and especially the comparison in size and it looks is quite interesting, I think. So come with me on this trip. This video is a little longer because I wanted to go into detail with every single car. I'm going to show you the chassis, the interior, the setup, what it looks like, what's so special about those chassis, or each chassis, each car, and I'm gonna take you with me on my HO drag strip, because that's where we're gonna have a look at the HO NASCAR and how it performs there and how I perform there on the track with my reaction time. I haven't been to the drag strip for quite a while, so hopefully I don't blame myself, but we'll check it out together. So join me and let's go to my workbench. Off we go. And here we are right at it. This is a Tyco 440x2 NASCAR with the famous Pfizer livery. One of the liveries I love most. Spare your comments, gentlemen. I like just the paint job, not what Pfizer distributes. Okay, guys? So check out with me the beautiful detail on that HO car. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not very usual. Here is a look onto the chassis. That's onto the bottom of the chassis. You can see quite well how it is set up. We're going to have a look at the upper side or inner side as well in a second. Yes, Joe, this one is for you. On HO cars, I do use silicone tires, as can be seen here on this chassis. For those who are not familiar with HO cars, they are inliners. Most of them are. There are some sidewinders, but mostly the factory ones are inliners like this one with a lot of magnet downforce, as you can also see behind that white plastic thing. Here's an inside look on the upper part. You can very clearly see towards the front axle the two brushes pushing out from the outside. Sorry, those brass tubes, those small ones. You can see the magnets for the motor, and of course the inliner setup with for the gearing. Now, this is quite interesting to see because there are quite many different chassis types out there for HO, and there are still some newly produced, mainly in the US, but there's also one manufacturer in the UK that produces HO chassis. Those cars are of course very fast, have a lot of magnet downforce. You can either change the magnets to stronger ones or replace the magnets with brass weights so that you have no downforce from the magnets. Only the magnet from the motor is producing a little downforce, but not so much, and you have the same driving experience with like 32 or 24 cars without magnets. Now let's switch over to the drag strip and see how it looks here. We have the Christmas tree. You see on the left side, it's loaded, the car is staged. It will count down and off we go.
0.6139, right lane, DNF.
What you can see here and what you probably already heard is the timing system for the drag strip. Now on the left side, you see on top Nico and NASCAR. Next is 0.02, that's my reaction time, not too bad. And the elapsed time was 0.613, and that is 13.2 miles per hour. Now I put it on slow motion, especially for you, from the starting line, and I also have a slow motion here from the other side. We even will have a super slow motion coming up. Here it is, and you see that car just runs really smooth and flat out. If you wonder what those buildings on the right-hand side are, that's dioramas that I have built in 1:64 to accomplish the drag strip. Now, onto the 32 car. This is a Scalextrics. They used to produce, it must be like 10 or 15 years ago, they produced a very large bunch of NASCARs, some of them with inliners, some of them with Sidewinder setup on the gear. This is a Sidewinder, and again, I drove this car already in 2 races. The front wheels are sealed. There is a body float, of course. The rear tires are true. They're original rubber, and there is some weight in that car. I will show you in a minute what the inside of the car is, what it looks like. Now, don't forget, in those days, we did not have threaded screws. I'll come to that a little later on as well to show you what we did in the older days, so to say, to get some body float. But join with me or enjoy with me that lovely detailed car from Scalextrics. It was a rule for those races. You had to use a Scalextrics NASCAR out of that production year or out of those years. And you could choose again between inliner or Sidewinder. I was going for the Sidewinder. Here's a look without the body. So a look to the inside, you can see the setup on the front, still everything original, only that the front tires are hardened with CA glue, that is, and trued. The full interior to be used, actually a beautiful interior if you ask me, for a 32 NASCAR, and a lot of interior, not one of those Lexan things, no, fully 3D all the way. You can very well see already the gear for the Sidewinder and how Scalextrics managed to put on that full cockpit on that car. Very, very well done. And we will have a look at the chassis in a second without the full cockpit. Jesus, we were not allowed to do anything on the cockpit, so no trimming or no cutting away or no reducing weight. That was the rules and regulations for that race, or those two races actually. Here's a look to the little weight that I added. Yes, that's a full brass plate from the motor to nearly the front axle. And that was the easy way to straighten out the chassis. Just glue it as well as possible to the chassis and you get a straight chassis. And I even added more weight, as you can see on top. The cables were pretty neatly tucked away. That was already set up by Skillelectrics that way. And what I used to hold also the brass plate was the original clamps for the magnet positions. There were like 3 or 4 different magnet positions in that car, and I just clamped in that brass plate completely. Now, a few to give you the full glory of that NASCAR tank, because yes, for sure that is the car, one of the cars that was heaviest, but hey, again, it was the car that handled best in corners, believe me. And as you can see, the chassis is quite worn already. It's not yesterday's chassis. It was driven, it was raced. And if you look very closely one more time, in front of the front tires, you can also see that I added 2 small weight plates. That was lead. We used those very long screws. Again, there were no threaded screws available in those days, so we were just looking for long screws to be able to get a body float on that setup, which was not that easy with the full interior and the full cockpit still attached or had to be built in for those races. And a little check on the roller bed. Jesus, I thought that car was running so well. Having it now checked on the roller bed, you can very well see that it's not that well balanced anymore on the rear wheels, so a little truing would do. Now, welcome to the 1-24 NASCAR that I built for a race in Germany that was in Munich. This is, as you can see, the right front rim and tire, including, please notice, including the air valve to put in the air. That's a little detail I just loved to put on those cars. Check out this beautiful paint job. I have to admit, no, it was not me painting that body. I just did some of the rest work. And those 1-24 bodies are made of fiberglass. I will show you a little later what they look like if they are not prepared yet, what they look like when we can buy them. But this is the end result. Very good paint job, very light body. Actually, this body is too light, but I'll show you in a second. And you can already see the way the glass parts or the windows are glued in. Yes, that was done by me. It's not one of my favorite jobs, as if you can look see. Onto newer cars, I can see some improvement. So yes, I've been working on that topic. Now, a front view, you can see a little battle scar on the front lip in the lower part. The rest of the body looks pretty good, pretty well. Again, this car has already proven its stability. And one thing that also needs to be done for this race series is a very well
detailed 3D interior. You could see the fire extinguisher already. But again, I love those front wheels the most, the way they are prepared, the decals that were put on, and the details that were put on. A little look from the driver's side into the cockpit. Again, a lot of details in there. Of course, a roll cage was put in there as well, and fixed. And all of this needs a very, very flat chassis, which I'm also going to share with you, of course, in a second. But join with me once again, a very nice look and fly over this very nice body, I would say, with the interior glued in, prepared to the max. Battle scars on the rear as well. That's how it should be. You can see a little glimpse of the interior of the full cockpit. We'll have a closer look at that in a second. Look, please, for that front post there that's needed for this kind of chassis that we use for those cars, that you have to use for those cars by rules and regulations. Here it comes again, and I'll show you what this is good for. So yes, very well detailed, but still I was not within the top 3 concours winners, because that's also one thing with those cars. There's always an extra concours like exhibition and contest. Now, if you look at the rear wheel well, you can see like that black post going from the left to the right of the body. That's one part where the body is fixed to the chassis. And if you look at the front of the chassis, you see that post with that brass plate on as well. Here is a little view to give you an idea what I'm talking about. And if you notice, there are a few tungsten weights attached to the front hood and to the trunk. That's the places where you are allowed to place weight if your body is too light, and that body was too light. This is a look at the chassis that has to be used. You can see behind the rear wheels that wing thing, more or less, where you attach the body, and behind the front axle there are 2 holes where you actually fix the body to the front. This is what the chassis looks like from below, from beneath. Again, on the right hand side you see those wings or flap, whatever you want to call it, where you can attach the body to the chassis. Those screws are to be used, and as you can see, they have a lot of threaded part on them. The right hand one has, and the left hand one is just a small one with a small thread. So this will guarantee body flex, and this is what it looks like then when it's attached on the rear part. And we're going to have a look at the front part as well. No, we're not. Because there's one more thing that I would like to share with you, and that's a NAS truck that I also built. Same chassis, same setup. Again, fiberglass body, painted by me, decaled by me. This one I did completely on my own. Also the paint job and all the details, and of course the decals and everything else. And again, look at those beautiful front tires, wheels, rims, and the air valve attached to the rim. That's one detail I just love the most. We will try and have a little look inside of the cockpit, if that's possible with a camera, just to give you an idea on how detailed actually those cockpits are. But I'm going to show you a single cockpit later on as well, just to give you an idea on what they look like and what they're actually have built in or not. Again, you can see a fire extinguisher, and my favorite parts, if you look to the right hand side, are the glass parts. I just hate those things to be glued in, to be honest. But hey, I definitely improved from those days till today. Um, this is a race that I enjoyed most. I only became like, I don't know, 14th or something, but it was such a fun class to drive. If you have 6 of those cars on a routed track going side by side, and they go really fast. We drive them at 12 volts, and the motor that is built in is a 25k motor. So that is a lot of speed, and of course, foam tires are used there, but I'm sure you already saw that. Again, a little glimpse into the cockpit and what the body looks like now after it's done its race. I will not take those cars to the track anymore. They have done their job. They are shelf queens for me to look at, to enjoy, to preserve, and to remind me of those races that were just very big fun. And again, I will put in links in the description text of this video below to show you what those cars actually look like on track and what the competition looks like, because there are so many beautiful cars to be seen there. It is just unbelievable. This is a fiberglass body, a raw one when you buy it. Now compare it to the blue one that we've just seen, or also the pickup. That's how you get it. That means a lot of work to be put in. Yes, it's a charger. And that's what the inside of the body looks like. It means the wheel wells and all the windows need to be cut out, cleared, and then you can work on the body with all the primer, grinding it, more primer. Then you put on a base coat, then you put on color, then you put on, just a lot of work. This is one of the cockpits that I still have left over. That's what it looks like on the inside. Again, you can see so many details in there. Cables, connections, fire extinguisher. The whole cockpit is very, very detailed. Steering wheel, all the interior, all the details, all the gorges on behind the steering wheel. So as you can see, everything is very, very detailed. And yes, this needs to be there. It is mandatory. It's by the rules and regulations that are set up to participate in those races. And those things are actually checked whether they're in there or not. So fire extinguisher, for example, is one must have. The gear stick is one must have. And there are a few other things that you need to have. The good thing is that the bottom part of that is Lexan, and just the roll cage is, you can get that already 3D printed and ready to be glued in, more or less. Yes, the driver hasn't got his left foot on anymore. That was too big, took too much space. So I'm sorry, guys. That one's a little crippled now. But it does the job. Ladies, gentlemen, this was the presentation, but wait, hold on for a second, stay tuned.
If you like this kind of content, please leave a like. If you want to get informed when I issue new videos, feel free to subscribe to my channel. It's free of charge. Leave comments, share, tell others. Just feel free to stroll around in my channel, ask questions, all slot car related. You ask them, you get an answer. No problem.
And a little detail I also wanted to share with you is how we prepared the guides for this, those cars. Maybe this gives you a little idea on what detail we actually worked down to. If you look very closely, we took the middle part out of that guide. Plus, if we look on that guide from the top, which we'll be able to see in a second, you will notice that also on the middle section of that guide, we thinned it. So there's only the front and the rear that is still in full strength. That should be for better performance in the corners, meaning not so much of that guide is actually touching in the corners on the inside, which means less friction. But beware, those guides break very easily now because they haven't got the full strength anymore. Slotcar family, thank you very much. This was it. It is quite a long video. I think it's a little more than 25 minutes. Thanks for sticking around so long if you made it up to here. It was a comparison I wanted to do for quite a while. I wanted to show you the differences. I wanted to share with you the different chassis. I wanted to share with you the fun that I had racing those cars. And as always with Slotcar Dude, don't forget, there is more to come.